Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Come on, won't you say it loud? Ayo, we gon' turn this out. Tom Clark's Main Event.
Hey, what's up, kids? Welcome back to the program. Tom Clark back here with you yet again on another Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Friday to you, one and all. Good to see you. Man, have I had a hectic couple of hours. I won't get into it. The last 2 hours have been to the wall, as they say, to the wall. But we're here. We're ready. We're rolling. This is episode 396. 4 weeks from today, everybody. You know what happens 4 weeks from today? Episode 400, Jack. What do you think about that? It's pretty good, right? If you've never watched the show before, what's up? I'm Tom. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is a pro wrestling podcast, live show plus audio version. You'll find everything you need to know about me, about the podcast network that I founded these many years ago, Boink Studios. There's an interesting story behind the name Boink Studios. We'll get into it at one of these times out, but we won't get into it right now. But hey, man, look in the chat and you'll see the Facebook link, not Facebook, excuse me, the YouTube link. But if you'll go give us a follow on the channel, it's free. We've got loads of podcasts there, everybody. Tom Clark's Main Event, Tom Clark's 6M Podcast, Bear Mode, a podcast review of the Bear. And we also have 3 brand new shows, Ray's Sports and Slams, Bachman's Basement, and The Patton Report. Man, I'm telling you right now, we got more podcasts than you could shake a stick at. We've also reviewed the entire series of Ted Lasso, and that's called Two Nations Under Ted Lasso Podcast. And if you like a YouTube show, not technically a podcast that reviews trailers, it's just me. It's called Tom Clark Reviews. All you got to do is hit that link right there, kids. Go subscribe. Nothing's behind a paywall. We appreciate your time. And also, boinkstudios.com. I'm done selling stuff. Guten Tag, Sandy in Germany. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, my friend. Good to see you as always. What's up, Robbie? Good to see you. JP is in the house, everybody. Good to see you there, JP. Let's see. Ray All Day is here. What's up? How you guys doing? It is Halloween season. Can you guys believe how freaking late in the year it is, by the way? I'm not going to do that thing where everybody else does where they talk about, this year's went by so fast. Sometimes I get real sick of that. Can I be honest with you? It's all good, right? It's all good. But sometimes I can maybe get a little sick of it. But it's all good, dude. So, yeah, we've got the banners up. And we had the ticker ticking. There it is. Look at that. For some reason, I took it off there. If you would like to support the show, everybody, you're welcome to do so. Buymeacoffee.com/Tom Clark. You could throw me a couple of bucks if you'd like to. You could throw me a couple of hundred. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. Actually, that'd be fine. I'm kidding. I am kidding that you don't have to. I'm just saying that'd be nice of you. But you know what? A cup of coffee don't cost $200. Not yet anyway. But you know, anything could change. I feel like I'm out of sorts with my shirt, man. Look at that. This hoodie is way too big because I've lost like 20 plus pounds over the past few months. Going to the gym 3 times a week will do that. Hopefully, right? It has, which is very cool. But yeah, man, this hoodie does not fit. And I'm a hoodie guy. This has become my podcast hoodie. It was my all fall/winter hoodie. Now it's just a podcast hoodie. This thing is like a size too big, man. It is monstrous on me now. So I'm going to have to get like a walking around hoodie, and this thing's just going to stay up here in this office. And that's what I'll use for the shows. What I've been using, but I'm just saying, man, it's huge. I'm not complaining. Plenty of people out there don't have an oversized hoodie. I'm sure they'd be glad to have it. So we've got loads of stuff to talk about here today, kids. As you guys know, AEW WrestleDream is coming up tomorrow. I could not be more happier, by the way, that this sucker is tomorrow. If you are an AEW fan, especially if you are in other places throughout the world, you're pretty happy that WrestleDream is on a Saturday, right? But you would also be a lot happier if it were at a better time, because the last pay-per-view, was it Forbidden Door was the last pay-per-view? I mean, no, it wasn't Forbidden Door. What was it? Was it All Out? That sucker was because they moved the time. Our friends across the pond, shout out to the Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Jay, Joe, Big Tasty as well. Yeah, man, shout out to those guys. But start time of 3 p.m. I mean, that's great for them, man. 3 p.m. our time is 8 o'clock for them versus, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, sometimes later. Sandy, I am not jacked. I got the smartest arms you ever saw, but I never went to the gym to get muscle. I just went to the gym to lose some weight. And so far, knock on wood, it's working. So, but I've been down this road many times. I won't bore you. Fernando, good to see you, my friend, as always. Thank you so much for hanging out. Kids, let's get to this. Let's right off the bat, let's talk about Samoa Joe going for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Hangman Adam Page. What are we thinking about this match? I think it's going to be awesome. I mean, of course it is, because we're talking about, the champ of the world, man. Hangman is on another level right now. The guy's come full circle in his AEW career. I'm very happy for the guy. He's doing fantastic, doing great work. Samoa Joe on his worst day, if he took a nap, was to be better than half a locker room on any company in the world. They've had a great rivalry before. This is going to be good. I'm sure this is going to be good. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. For sure. So let's see. Ray says, will be awesome match. The feud was a little silly. You're not wrong, Ray. However, here's what I'll tell you. You guys know how AEW works, right? In AEW, you just go, hey, you want to fight? Okay. And then you just have a fight. Which, in pro wrestling speak, that should be the way it is all the time. However, you would like to hope that you get a little bit more storytelling. But, I'm not going to bag on the company or belabor the point, because we've been through this before. The storytelling in AEW has gotten exponentially better over the past couple of years, I submit. There's moments when it's still a little funky and a little wonky. But yeah, this thing came from out of nowhere, I think. But here's what I'll tell you guys. Samoa Joe challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship against Hangman Adam Page, really against anybody, I'm totally fine. I love watching Joe, and I love watching Joe compete for a world championship, so I'm totally good with it. JP says the match will be awesome. Agreed, but I see Page winning this match 100%. I agree with you. They could do whatever they want, right? But I would be shocked. Not shocked. I'd be very surprised if they pulled the trigger on Joe and gave it back to him for whatever reason. Fernando says it's going to be a great match, but how we got... See, everyone's saying the same thing. That the match is going to be great, but how we got here was less than stellar. I'm not going to disagree with you kids at all. It's going to be interesting, man. The key with any great rivalry, right, is to find a way to make it fresh. These two guys have worked before. I think Page, to his credit, both guys doing what they can to put a fresh spin to this. I like the idea that Samoa Joe is the most dangerous guy in the locker room, no matter if he's getting booed or cheered. And that if you push him too far, he will flat out commit murder. Right? Yeah, I actually really like that. And not every character, I think, could get away with that. It's been a long day. My voice is cracking. I don't think every character could get away with that. I don't think everybody could. I think Joe is one of the select few that people will chant for. Joe's going to kill you, whether he's heel or face. And I think Joe's in a great spot where Joe does not need to win. And if he loses, he's fine, because Joe is Joe. And we always say that this isn't always the case for talents, but to be able to get to that spot. And look, not for nothing, but this is, like we said, not only going to be a great match, but I hope there's something further comes of this. A lot of the world championship matches, I mean, they did it with Mox too. It's one and out, one and out, one and out. Will this go past one match? I don't know that it will, because you look at it from a distance and you say, well, what kind of string of victories, title defenses are they going to give to Hangman over the course of this title reign? Like, having Joe on the list as a guy that you pinned is pretty freaking big. So I think they could do it for sure. I don't know. I mean, why not? Look, Paige is your guy. And I love Joe. Don't get me wrong. But Paige is your guy. Paige is your world champion. We went through a lot with Adam to get to where we are now, right? So because we went through all this to get there, and his character went through all that hell that he went through to get to the world championship, back to the world championship. Again, he's your guy. He's come through the worst of it. So put this guy together as a string of victories over top stars, and it doesn't get much higher than Samoa Joe. So again, perfectly fine with that. I'm really looking forward to this. We often talk about matches that'll steal the show. We'll see. But I think you'd have to drop a house on these guys for this match not to be good. And even then, they'd kick out. I'm looking forward to it, man. I think it's going to be awesome. JP says Samoa Joe doesn't need the belt because he's still the Trios champion with the Ops. He doesn't need it anyway. You're not wrong, but he doesn't need it anyway, I don't think. In terms of, you could put the world championship on Joe anytime you wanted to, and it would work because he's Joe. It worked the last time. But Paige hasn't had it long enough. And so when and if that time comes, then we can talk about maybe we switch it, right? Fernandez says, better be the last champ versus champ match for the main event. Yeah, we'll see. They do what they want, man. I mean, we know that Takeshita is the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. We'll get to that later. By the way, I got stuff to say about that New Japan show. Holy Lord. Yeah. Well, look, let's move on, kids. Let's talk about Darby Allin taking on Jon, by God, Moxley in an I Quit match. Kids, this is, like Funk versus Foley. I'm just trying to think of rivalries that, Buzz Sawyer versus Brad Armstrong, maybe, rivalries that bloodlust. Tully and Dusty. I think we mentioned this last week. Bloodlust rivalries. I mean, that's what Jon and Darby have, right? I'm so looking forward to this. But in an I Quit match, how do you book this when you've got Jon Moxley on one side, Darby Allin on the other? Be honest. How do you book it? Because I don't know. I'm welcome to comments. I'm open to your thoughts. Because I honestly don't know how you do it. This is one of those instances where I will say to a certain degree that both Darby and Jon can lose a match and both guys will be fine. Jon's proved that if nobody else has. And Darby has very much got the Bray Wyatt syndrome happening, where he'll win on TV, but he won't win on the big matches on pay-per-view. But I'm going to tell you, man, if Darby were to say, I quit, how does Jon Moxley say, I quit? I mean, I guess you could do something here where someone else gets involved. You could threaten Darby. You could have somebody off camera, threatening somebody, like if Sting were still around, have Sting in a weapon pointed at his throat or something and threatening to hurt him if you didn't physically say, I quit, audibly say, I quit. Ray says Bryan Danielson helps Darby. What do you guys think about that? It's interesting. I mean, Danielson hasn't gotten involved. I mean, he did the thing where he's like, go ahead, take that. Right? That little move that he did where he gave the bag. I love Danielson. I shout out to Phil Lindsay. Phil and I did the 6M this past Wednesday. And we talked after the show is over, as we typically always do. And he's like, man, Danielson's itching to get back in there. And I'm like, I think so too. I think it's going to be Danielson versus Garcia at some point. And maybe to just be like a purely technical, scientific match. We'll see. But I think Phil's right. I think Danielson's itching to get back in the ring, man. JB says, cover your eyes. This one's going to be bloody, so you might want to pick the survivor, not the winner. Oh, my God. That is the line of the day, dude. Well done. You're not picking the winner. You're picking the survivor. That's awesome. Well said, JB. Well said. Fernando pointed out Raven versus Tommy Dreamer. Great one. Great example. Death Riders attacked Bryan and threatened to set him on fire, and Darby is forced to say, I quit. Yeah. Boy, poor old Danielson, man. Bags put over his head, setting him on fire, pitching him off a roof. I don't know. What's left? What else are they going to do? Hit him with a bus. You know what I mean? Poor old Danielson. Man, just sitting there trying to earn a paycheck, just trying to call some matches. And there come the Death Riders. Riding death. It's going to be a great match, man. I'm telling you right now. Mox and Darby. It's not going to be, won't be for the squeamish, as JP alluded to. It's going to be something else. I'm looking forward to it. You know, we're back to the same old conversation with Mox of how far is too far? How much more damage do you let this guy do? How much more intense does this thing get? Right? I mean, my answer to that is, look, it's their company. They can do whatever they want. I'm not trying to give you guys a cop-out or anything in terms of what I think could happen. But, you know, this notion that they have to play by the rules of WWE or any other company, I disagree. Is out of 8 matches on the card, do I want blood in 5 of them? Of course not. I don't know that I want it in 2 matches. But 1, sure, right? And look, we've said this for a long time too. Jon is a very smart guy. Anyone that gives Jon Moxley grief and even suggests he's not intelligent about how the business works, how this thing's supposed to be done, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. That company is so much better with Moxley in the locker room. You know, all the talk about Jericho possibly going back to WWE. I mean, they wouldn't be the same company without Chris, but they definitely wouldn't be the same company without Mox either. For sure. JP says it'll take a lot more people than Danielson with the Death Riders around. Yeah. Fernando says maybe a Mick Foley Royal Rumble situation where we hear a recording. Yeah. That's cheap. I mean, the Death Riders are heel and they cheat, but would they go to that length? Would they have them go to that length? That's a good question. What a crappy way to end that match, by the way. Let's flip through some of these other matches, kid. We got 12 matches to talk about here in this hour. We've got FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood with Stokely versus Jet Speed, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight. That should be a great one. Jet Speed is just on another level. They're not going to win this match. Anything can happen, everybody. But FTR wins more often than not. I still don't understand why the Outrunners couldn't beat them one time. I just don't get it. But I won't spend any more time on it than I need to. Tag team match, Eddie Kingston and Hook versus, we don't know yet. Not sure what's going to happen with that. Should be interesting, right? Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale versus Divine Vanity. That's Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. Divine Vanity. It's fine. By the way, shout out to the ladies. Freaking, who was it? Was it Stat? Who was it had the match this past Wednesday? Sky Blue and was it Statlander? I don't think it was Statlander. Who was it? Somebody help me out. Sky Blue and anyway, the match was fantastic. The match was, it wasn't Stat because she came out the stare down first stare down with Toni. Sky Blue and Jamie Hayter. Oh my God. Great. Like, I won't be able to put that match over enough to you guys. Great match. If you didn't see it Wednesday, go back and watch it because you'll love it. Freaking great. You talk about Sky Blue was always good. I've always been a fan, but she's gotten that much better in the past couple of years. It is insane. And again, she was always good, but man, what a match, dude. If you didn't see that, you definitely missed out. JP says they've got a match coming up called Blood and Guts, so I don't see them quitting the blood and gore. Well, no. I don't expect them to ever quit. I don't want them to ever quit. We need to have an edgy company. And I mean, AEW is going to be edgy to a point, yeah? So, because they got advertisers, they got sponsors. But, you know, the other company's never going to do that in terms of being that edgy. I don't even feel like talking about the other company. I got nothing to say about them. I could not be more sour on the other company than I am today. I just couldn't be. I don't think it's possible. Well, maybe. They continue to find ways to make me shake my ever-loving head. JP says Sky Blue versus the 70s couch. Oh my God, again, well done. Jamie looks great. If Jamie had kissed her bicep one more time, I was liable to throw something on my TV. I love her, though. How can you not like Jamie Hayter, man, right? But you're right. She got like a very Austin Powers fashion sense going on now, doesn't she? Yeah, I got distracted. Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale, as we said, versus Divine Divinity. That should be good. I love me some Harley. Anytime Harley's on the card, I'm there. Roderick Strong and the conglomeration of Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly and Tomohiro Ishii versus the Death Riders, Claudio, Wheeler, Daniel Garcia, and Pac. A dry Pac is an ineffective Pac. I don't like it. Dude cut his hair. It's all dry, and he's wearing clothes. I don't like this. I don't know who told him this was cool. You look great, man. They lied to him. Shame on you. You lie to Pac, you're taking your life in your own hands because Pac's going to find out you lied to him. Every one of y'all over there is in for a world of hurt because, again, a dry Pac is an ineffective Pac. I like my Pac wet, soaking wet, and wearing gear 24/7 and just wandering around just staring a hole through you. That is Pac the way God and nature intended, yeah? This thing I see before me, an abomination. How dare you dry the Pac? It's a terrible idea. Terrible, I say. It's going to be a good match, though. Of course it is. Roddy and Claudio had a really good match this past Wednesday, too. Boy, Roddy hits hard. Maybe too hard. But you didn't hear that from me. But, man, Roddy's awesome. I love Roddy, actually. I always have. Let's see, Chris, we talked about Stat earlier. Chris Statlander defending the AEW Women's World Championship against Toni Storm. I do not believe in my heart of hearts that Toni is getting the championship back. I think she is going to get the championship back at some point. However, I do not believe it is going to be tomorrow night. Jamie says, Pac cut his Samson hair doesn't work like it did for Fletcher. Ray said, do you like the Daniel Garcia? I like his change of gear. Sure. No, dude, I think it looks good because change it up. You know what I mean? Like change it up, do something different. Like Punk did it. Doesn't do it anymore, but like Punk did the Long Boys and everything, and then guys can switch it up. AJ, right? AJ was in trunks forever until he wasn't. And then it was all he became known for was the tights. Then the trunks came back for that match against John. I mean, Daniel, look, we all said for a year or more that Daniel Garcia needed something. That as great as the guy is, and he's so good, that if you're not going to bring back Red Death, if you're not going to give the guy what we know he can do, and allow the guy to do what we know he can do, you're going to keep saddling with stupid gimmicks and have him doing that dumb freaking dance all the time. Do something. Switch it up. They did. It's great. I love it. I think he looks great with Death Riders. I think he's cutting great promos now. You know, here's the key, everybody. Garcia could do all these things before when he was dancing, but they weren't having him do that. Either they weren't having him do it or he wasn't feeling it, or it's just they were doing other stuff with him and for him. And they didn't, for whatever need, see the need to, or see any reason to, to go back that route. But now that they have, again, I tell you, I can't imagine them. I just can't imagine them ever going back to him being face. And I know that's a big statement because you know what I think? I think when the face turn happens, whenever that's going to be, that, he's back to that freaking dance again. And I'm not going to stay on all day. I just like the idea of evolution. I like the idea of character progression. Character has an arc, sees it through. The character evolves. He learns. He or she learns, adapts, get better, changes over time. Like when you read a novel. Brother, if on page 500, your main character is the same as he was on page 1, you wasted your time. I feel like I wasted my time. I can't speak for all of you. But I want my main character, my main protagonist, to go through some stuff. And as the writer, it's the writer's job to put the main character neck deep in crap so as he can dig his way out of it. That's the job. I'm just saying. And by the way, that's not always my philosophy with baby faces in pro wrestling. We've seen how the way the other company does baby faces, where they have to physically and emotionally and psychologically destroy baby faces because they think that's the only way to get a face over, which they're wrong. But they do it all the time over there. All the time. You guys know that, right? See, Robbie says, I'm a 70s couch born in 77. I couldn't possibly win against Sky Blue. I'm going to tell you right now, I bet you Sky Blue will hit you so hard, make taste come out your mouth. There is such a thing as, hey, back in the day, wrestlers were tough or tougher. That's all. That seems to be the thing, right? Back in the day, they were tougher. Yeah, yes and no. But this notion that wrestlers aren't tough in 2025, I kind of wish that, I really wish that would just go away, because I feel like people really don't know what they're talking about to some degree. It is true that back in the day, especially for a guy like Cowboy Bill Watts, if you lost a bar fight, you didn't get to work in that territory anymore. They were going to ship you out. That's how it worked. So that's why if you're going to go to the bar, you be prepared to fight or just stay home, right? Because if you get challenged, if you decide to fight, you better win. Because they were keeping kayfabe. They were keeping up the illusion that, this is real. And if you challenge me, I'll show you I'm a real man, and bam, put you on the floor, right? Do I think that's been lost to some degree? Maybe. But also, I am not a toxic male who runs around and spouts off alpha male BS all the time. It's never been me. It's not me now, okay? I have no desire to ever be that person. It's just, I don't know. If you're one of those people, I think you're weird. And I think you close the door on any conversation for anybody else. And I use the term alpha male a lot in work environment, stuff like that. I don't have anything against it per se. It's just the way it's perceived. It's just the way it's perceived. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just a dude. That's all I am. I'm the dude, man. That's who I am. Yeah. JP says, too soon for Chris Statlander to lose the belt. I agree. Just like we said about Paige, because you take it off Stat now would make her a transitional champion. Yep. JP says, but you'd have to hit a girl to win, so I don't think you'll win. Oh, you talking about against Sky Blue? Oh, no, I'm not hitting a girl. That's not happening. No. Look, man, I don't hit anybody. I don't hit anybody, man. It's not my style. David Down Under is joining us live from Australia. David, very cool that you're here, dude. I appreciate you very much. Always enjoy seeing you. Jurassic Express. They're back, kids. Jack Perry and Luchasaurus versus the Young Bucks. Winners receive $500,000 cash prize. Okay. This has got to be Jurassic Express. I don't know what we're doing if the Young Bucks win this. I don't understand what the point of this is. By the way, I didn't give predictions. I'm going to say FTR because they win everything. Eddie Kingston and Hook for sure. I'll say Bane and Penelope will win their match. I'll say Death Riders win their match in the 8-man. I think Mox has beaten Darby. I don't know where it goes from there. Although Darby did, maybe Darby wins tomorrow and John, and then they have a rubber match for the third one. I'll go out on a limb and say Darby wins tomorrow somehow. I do think Adam Page retains. I think Statlander retains. Jurassic Express needs to win this match, kids. Again, if they don't, I really don't know what we're doing anymore. I don't get it. I don't dislike the Bucks. I've never disliked the Bucks, but at any given time, I don't know what we're doing with the booking of the Bucks. I have no clue. I thought I knew at one point. At any given point, I don't have any idea. I'll tell you something you can't take away from them, though. Once you ring that bell, it's go time. They're fantastic. They're still great. They've never not been great, everybody. You guys know that, don't you? They've never not been great. They've always been great. But it's just a matter of, how are they getting booked, which is a thing. But yeah, I don't know, man. There's history with the Bucks, not weird stuff, but stuff from Japan. And then, the thing they did when Ospreay and Swerve tagged together, they had to come out to their own entrance. I'm like, I don't understand what we're doing. Is this stealing thunder or what is this? But, I won't stay too much on it. Again, nobody can argue what happens when that bell rings because when they go, they're gone, right? JP says, love the Jurassic Express is back. I agree. I was ambivalent at first, but I like it. Yeah. Yeah, they should 100% get the win. What would the rubber match be for Allin and Mox? Hit with a car match or buried alive? Hit with a car and then buried. They should have like the buried unalive match. That gets really morbid, doesn't it? It is the month of Halloween. What'd you guys think about Darby doing that zombie walk on Wednesday? By the way, they did that thing where they made out like he was in jail. What are we doing, guys? What is this? This company has some wonky moments. That was pretty freaking wonky, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, if you saw it, you know. If you didn't see it, you don't know. Yeah, it was pretty freaking wonky, man. For sure. Let's see. We also have the Hurt Syndicate, a Tornado Trios match against the Demand. They're going to run this feud till they can't run it no more. My question is, once this feud is over, what is next for the Hurt Syndicate? Because I think the Hurt Syndicate's winning this. We'll see. But again, I ask, where does it go from here? All the talk about, they didn't want to lose. I tried telling everybody here when all this was being said that there was an element of truth to that. Some folks didn't want to believe me. That's fine. I can't twist your arm. But now that that's no longer a problem, they lost Wednesday night. Like, they even on commentary, it's like, oh, they just lost. Because they don't get booked to lose, like, ever. Isn't that a problem? Isn't that a problem? I mean, I think so. What's up, Scott? Sometimes you wonder who writes this stuff and if they're thinking about long-term booking. Well, I mean, it depends on which match you're talking about. You're talking about Darby and Mox? Yeah, JP says they were in jail and Darby still got stomped out by Pat. Yeah. Ray says, didn't we see Hurt Syndicate fight these guys? Yeah, like I said, here's what I think, man. It kind of feels like we're going to keep these two sides going to war because the Demand are cool they're going along with this and that kind. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I do like the Gates of Agony have been shortened to GOA. I'm not sure why we weren't doing that to begin with. All the Bucks, you're talking about the Bucks booking. Yeah. I mean, the problem with TV wrestling, and this has been the case for time immemorial, the problem with TV wrestling is you got to get to next week. And you guys know how it used to be, right? Of course, TV was used to get people to the arena for the big shows. TV was never the big show. Hardly ever. TV was a way to advertise to get you to go to the big show that was coming to your town. To the Coliseum, the event center, the auditorium, whatever that venue was. And the TV was just used to get you there. That's why most of the matches were squash matches so they could show off the talent. That's why, you didn't see main event guys touch each other on TV. And if they did, it was a stare down or it was a pull apart or it was cutting promos on each other and they'd walk away. Because they're heightening the anticipation for you to buy tickets to that show that they can't wait for you to come see, right? But ever since that dynamic changed and ratings became a thing and the Monday Night War became a thing, and ever since then, TV wrestling will never be the same again. And guess what, kids? You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. This is what we have now. Now, you could argue at any given time, the other company did a better job booking TV. I would also argue they did a really crappy job booking TV. But if you're comparing AEW to anybody, I would say compare AEW against itself. How's the booking now compared to what it was 6 years ago when they first started? Has it gotten better? Your call. I will tell you, I think it's gotten better. Have they got it all figured out? No, I do not think they have it all figured out. At the core root of AEW, from the foundation of that company up, the chief complaint I will always have, and I enjoy AEW, don't get me wrong. The chief complaint I will always have with that company is this notion that heel and faces do not matter. I've complained. I've aired my grievances. I've said my piece. But my name is on the show. So if I feel like talking about it, I may just talk about it for a second. That's the primary problem. And it will always be flawed because of that. I know it sucks. I don't like it. I hate it, actually. But there's nothing we can do about it. They believe that that heels versus faces is old-fashioned, and we should all just move with the times. But that's not the way the real world is anyway. Have you looked around? There's definitely good guys and bad guys. Come on. Come on. There always has been. That's the only thing in this podcaster's opinion that sets pro wrestling apart from nearly everything else that you'll watch, is that it thrives on right versus wrong and good versus evil. And when you tell me everybody in the match I'm getting ready to watch are all bad, then why am I watching the match? If you tell me that everybody in the match I'm getting ready to watch are all good, then what's the reason for this match? Where is the conflict? Now, do I think we need to have cookie cutter matches like back in the 80s when it was the white meat baby face firing up, and slapping high fives and beautiful smile and perfect hair versus the dingy heel who hasn't shaved in a week and he looks like he flat out kills somebody and he threatens to hit the guy in the front row and slap a kid. I don't know that we ever need to go back to that all the time. But I feel like at any given moment, AEW has maybe lost the narrative on that stuff. You guys can agree with me or disagree. It's completely up to you. But I think that will always, at least for me, that will always be the problem with AEW. AEW got a lot of money for that TV deal. They're doing well. I'm sorry. If anyone disagrees with that, you're welcome to, but you're wrong. And this notion that, well, compared to WWE, stop. Come on, man. What are we doing? That's like saying that, I don't know what to compare that to. Your favorite league or whatever. Like, you might love the XFL. You might love XFL football. And say, man, that's fun football. I love watching XFL. Well, it's not NFL. Of course it's not. What are we talking about? Do you know what I mean? Some people just, they can't handle it when the thing they love is threatened. When the thing they love is challenged. They hate it. They absolutely hate it. And they'll get defensive and they'll go to war for it. And I'm thinking, dude, that company's never went to war for you. They never will. They never will. Okay? A company cares about the almighty dollar. And if you're a company not in business to make money, you're wasting your time. Yeah? But I think there's different levels to how this stuff should go, in my opinion. People are not cattle. That's why the world of retail is so effed up. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow, the world of retail is effed up. And I know because I spent like 31 years in it. It sucks. They don't value you. They don't care about you. They don't care if you're alive or dead. Okay? They don't care how your health is. Mental health, laughable. They don't care how you're feeling. None of that matters to them. You are a payroll number. You're an employee ID and a name tag, and that's what you are. Doesn't mean you're not great at your job. Doesn't mean you're not awesome. Doesn't mean you're not crushing it. They don't care about you. Name the retail company. They don't care about you. Name it right now. They don't care. They will never care. To me, that's what WWE is. Now, notice I didn't say AEW is perfect. They all have halos. Of course they don't. If they're human, they're effed up. Because everyone's effed up to a certain degree. But do I think that the levels of BS are the same in that company? I do not. I just do not. Now, one day they might be. And I will be honest and change my tune. I do not believe they are at this moment. Not this moment in time. We've also got Jamie Hayter, as we mentioned before, who's freaking great, versus Tekla in a singles match. Tekla's growing on me. I liked her anyway. Don't nobody be thinking I don't like Tekla. But Tekla's like 3'4", and she's a great little worker. But I never quite knew what we're doing. Why is she here? What role is she filling? So they just threw her with two other women because that's a thing. Not just in that company, in most pro wrestling companies. We don't know what to do. Just put them with somebody else. And that's how they book. I don't like that. I hate that. I've always hated that because it's kind of a cheap, easy way out, isn't it? But you could argue it's working. Because as Ray just said, she's undefeated. Right? Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Should be a good match. I love Jamie Hayter. I'm all for Jamie. I think Jamie could have been the one to beat Toni. It would have been great. I love Stat. I'm not going to take anything away from Stat. Mercedes Moné is not on this card, by the way, kids. She's got 10 belts now. So, yeah. She doesn't necessarily need to be on this card. I think you could have cards where, by the way, I don't want to see women trading off matches. Well, we've already got, I don't want to do that thing where it's a quota. I'm not even trying to suggest that. But I do think that Mercedes and Toni are both at such an incredibly high level. It's like having two world champions on your same card. Not that it's not doable. It absolutely is. Of course it is. They've done it many times before, but it's okay that Mercedes is not working tomorrow night. At least not here. So, Brodito versus the Dawn Callis family, Kazuchika Okada, Konosuke Takeshita for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. By the way, I got Hayter tomorrow night. We'll see. Will we see Takeshita and Okada become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions? I don't know. I think they could. I don't. We'll see. But see, Ray just said it. Okada turning. I don't think he's turning face. I don't think it's a face turn. Because I think Okada's a good heel. I don't think if he turns, it's not a face turn. I think Takeshita would be the guy that's face. In my opinion, I think it'd be Takeshita. I think it would be Takeshita getting turned on, but I don't even know that either guy would be like. I mean, Okada's heel now. You're saying Takeshita's going to turn face? By the way, Takeshita versus Zack Sabre was fantastic. If anyone's not watched that show, you got to go back and watch that show. It was freaking great. I cannot say enough good things about New Japan Pro Wrestling. I have said this before. I will continue to say it. And I defy anybody to tell me I'm wrong. But in my opinion, and again, I enjoy watching AEW very much. So don't let anybody take this out of context or misquote me or say, oh, that Tom guy, he's tapping out on AEW. I'm not trying to tap out on AEW. But watching King of Pro Wrestling, Yoda Tsuji versus Gabe Kidd, freaking great. Hiroki Goto back. Dude, Gabe Kidd and Tsuji blew the roof off the joint. Fantastic. And I'm going to tell you something. At the end of that match, I was like, yeah, if AEW was taken away from me for whatever reason, I'd be all right with that. Again, I enjoy watching the product. New Japan's my company. I get more out of a New Japan show. It does more for me here and here than any other wrestling I watch. And I love it. I just love it. I don't know what more to say to you. It's freaking great. Again, if you haven't checked it out, good Lord. JP says, I think Okada is leaving the Chaos family and going evil on his own. You know what? I'd be more inclined to agree with that. And by the way, that thing with Andrade is, I don't think he'll be out of action for a year. How are you going to tell me I can't get a job for 12 months? F you and the horse you rode in on, pal. But here's what I'll tell you. TKO's not a great company. Sorry to burst your bubble, everybody that loves WWE. TKO's not a great company. WWE was never a great company. Again, sorry to burst your bubble, okay? But, and it's all right if you disagree. It's perfectly fine. You can do what you want. But according to Lance Storm, this year-long, you can't work for anybody else if we fire you nonsense started in 2019 when he was there. Yeah. So there you go. It's in effect. If you are fired with cause, they can make you sit home for 12 months and you're not getting paid. You're not getting anything. 1 year, no compete. Now, certain people, including the guys over at Wrestling Observer, are like, there's no way that'll hold up in court. And I'm like, if your name is on it, I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe they're right. I think we'll see Andrade back sooner rather than later, but maybe I'm wrong. And you're right, JP. It usually is a 90-day no work clause, but yeah, they've for a year now. And look, TKO, again, not a great company, but TKO did not start this. They had this already in place. Fernandez says Andrade is always getting mixed up in weird situations. He is to blame as well. So did Miro. Remember? Rusev, Miro. Yeah, dude. I don't get it. Yeah, something's up. Where there's smoke, there's fire, right? You would think. Looking forward to this. In my opinion, Okada and Takeshita shouldn't win these belts. I think Rodito should retain. One match left, kids. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. Singles match for the AEW TNT Championship. Can I be honest with you guys? I think you put the belt on Mark. Maybe that's just wishful thinking. I think it's time. Pull the trigger on Mark Briscoe. Let's go. Not quite sure why we haven't done it yet. You know, you put the Ring of Honor World title on him, and you took it right off him to give it to Chris Jericho. Still don't get that. I'll never understand that. Smart as Chris is, how in the world did anybody in that company think this was the right move? Terrible. Freaking terrible. To this day, I don't get that. Never should have done that, man. That belt should... I think he should have had it this whole time. Mark should. TNT champion. Needs to happen tomorrow night. Probably not going to happen. It freaking needs to. It freaking needs to. Kids, we've gone an hour. What do you think about that? What you think about that? Kids, before we do anything else, I got a little something to show you. Everybody take 20 seconds and check this out.
Bachman's Basement returns tomorrow on Saturday, October 18th. Join Chris Patton and Chris Clausen as they discuss The Long Walk, the second Richard Bachman novel by Stephen King. You'll find it at 10 a.m. on Boink Studios YouTube and wherever you get your podcast.
Come on now. Bachman's Basement coming back tomorrow at 10 a.m. BoinkStudios.com and YouTube /@Boink Studios if you're on desktop. Just go to YouTube and hit Boink Studios, baby. You can't miss us. Yeah. It's so much fun. I love that show. By the way, big shout out to Chris Patton and to Ray Dean. Very happy. Hope these guys are happy as well with how things are going. Again, I won't get long-winded, but Boink Studios has always been there for me, and something that I've worked very, very hard on. And now I've got other guys on board, and hopefully they're having fun. I'm having fun doing it. But we're growing. Boink Studios is growing, kids. So if you want some honest podcasts from honest podcasters who aren't screaming at you, who aren't cursing at you, who don't take the hard line stance and say that they're right about everything, who don't talk BS, who don't say a bunch of empty platitudes and throw a bunch of nonsense in your direction, who don't rip on other people or say that wrestlers should be fired or that this person sucks and that person sucks. And they try to sound so smart with their backstage stuff. We don't do any of that here. We give you our honest opinion, our honest take. And we always tell you up front, you're welcome to disagree. We welcome conversation and debate. If you can debate without going nuts. I have found, kids, it's insanely hard to debate somebody who does not leave the door open for the possibility of not being right. And if everybody did that, there's no debating anybody. Well, there's a lot of that happening right now. Okay. When you're convinced you're right and everybody else is wrong, no one can debate you. It's a waste of time. But when you are willing to listen and to engage, debate can happen. It can't happen otherwise. We also do a lot of pop culture here, kids, as you know, movies, music, video games. As you just saw, Stephen King books. We do a lot of stuff at Boink Studios, man. We're working very hard behind the scenes to put out quality podcast programming. That's what we're all about. We're trying to put out some quality content out into the world. And we hope that you appreciate it. We hope that you're checking it out. Remember, none of our stuff's behind a paywall, kids. And in case you missed it from earlier, if you don't want to go up and down through the comments, that won't work. Let me go get it. Let me get it here. I could type it out, but I don't want to type it out because it's just typing for the sake of typing. Here we go. YouTube.com. Go to YouTube. Check us out. Boink Studios, everybody. And we appreciate you very much. The latest episode of Ray's Sports and Slams dropped live this past Monday. And it's live every Monday at 6 p.m. Brand new episodes of The Patton Report every Thursday at 6 and every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Curl up with a book review podcast. Bachman's Basement, 10 a.m. every Saturday. Josh is so late. It's okay, Josh. So is Maria. Maria, were you and Josh hanging out together? Jeez. Hanging out, not hanging out here. That's what I know. It's all right. I appreciate you guys. Everybody, again, go through the chat there and take a look, if you will, and follow us on the YouTube. Again, very much appreciated. Kids, the floor is wide open. Whatever you got, let's talk about it. Maria says people don't know how to debate anymore because the school system in this country decided to no longer teach civics class anymore. Well, a lot of stuff school didn't teach us, right? Stuff you find out about history, school didn't teach us. I deep dove. I did a little deep dive this week on Columbus. Jeez. Wasn't in the history books I read when I was a kid, brother. Stuff I didn't know. You grow up and you do your own research. Good heavens. Ray says, Pete Rock and CL Smooth or DOS effects. That's a tough one. If I'm in a pinch, I'll say DOS effects. because I love DOS effects. Part 2, Busta Rhymes or Nas. I like Busta. I can't say I'm a huge Nas guy. That should be Adam Cole, I assume, invited you to the grand opening of the Adam Cole sweatshirt store where you could get a sweatshirt in any color. In any color? Come on, Ray. Have you met me, Ray? Look here. Come on, man. Look, once they make a shade darker than black, I'll wear that one. Right now, it's black. In any print, what would you get on it? I think I might go plain. Isn't that lame? If you had a friend as well, have lunch, please call me. Sure. Next day, wanted to get breakfast, which included 2 eggs, cup of delicious coffee, and bowl of grits. Oh, you had me at grits, brother. Man's not had grits till he had them the way I make them. By the way, is anyone out there putting sugar in their grits? In other words, is anyone out there doing the devil's work? Because shame on you, because sugar doesn't go in grits. I know it's a thing for some people. Ugh. I can't even talk about it. I won't talk about it. Gives me cold chills. Grits should have salt, pepper, butter, and maybe some cheddar cheese if you're feeling a little spicy. But not sugar. Come on now. I know how to make grits, brother. Maria says there's some people advocating refs should get inducted to the Hall of Fame. That's stupid, right? I don't think it's stupid. There's celebrities in the Hall of Fame never wrestled a day in their life. Here's what I'll tell you, Maria. Hall of Fames are determined by companies and by promoters. Unless, and I think the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame is not determined that way. I think it's actually voted. I think. Don't quote me. It's so subjective. That's why when people get upset that it'll be Hall of Fame, I'm like, why are you getting upset? They put in who they want. It's a popularity contest over there. It really is. They put in who they want. Do you know what I mean? Like if referees are part of the show. A referee's job is just as important. Here's what I'll tell you. A referee's job, look, you know how you know referees are an effective part of a match? What happens when a referee screws up a 3 count? Doesn't it just ruin the whole match? You could ruin a year's worth of booking with an ineffective referee. You could fix it, but I'm saying, try being a referee. Try being Tommy Young back in the day, right? Try being a referee in a massive world title match. You better have some butterflies. You better have a little bit of nerves because you want to be sure you don't F anything up, yeah? I'm just saying. Do I think you should be in a Hall of Fame? Why not? I don't know. Whether or not it's stupid, that's your call. That's your call if you think so. How do I explain grits to David in Australia? Who can help me out here? Who can help me explain what a grit is? Can I be honest with you? I'm not even sure I know what grits are. I just know I love them. You know what else is funny? I didn't come to grits till I was a grown man. That's the truth. For real. I didn't come to grits till I was a grown man. I wouldn't touch them as a kid. I still won't eat oatmeal. I'm not touching oatmeal. Oatmeal might as well just be mush, dude. I can't eat that stuff. And I've smelled some oatmeal that smells amazing. But Fernando says porterhouse or ribeye. There's less waste on a porterhouse. Even with the bone, you're only losing that bone. If you get a fatty ribeye, you've lost 2/3 of it. Yeah. Ugh. I love ribeyes though. But I'm not a fan of New York strip, so the porterhouse for me would be tough. Not tough. Well, maybe tough. The bone helps make it tender. Gracious. You think I'm an old school meat man as well, guys, for real. I'll get ribeye. How about that? Sockrecker says Don Callis' family has too many members. A lot of people feel that way. But look, I'm a New Japan guy, and that company is sick with factions. They always have been. It's their thing. I mean, I can't get mad at that. I'm weird about the factions thing, man. At any given time, I was with you. I'm really not now. I don't know. I'm really not. I like it. Ask me in a week. Maybe I won't feel that way. JP says Sid Vicious, Kane, Kevin Nash. What are we talking about? Oh, sorry, Robbie. Besides the obvious, The Undertaker and Andre the Giant, who do you think over 6 feet tall is considered a legendary giant wrestler? Big Show's got to be in there, doesn't he? Big Show's got to be in there. Sid Vicious? Yeah, I'll say Sid. Kane, I got nothing to say about Kane. I'm moving on. Taker, I got nothing to say about Taker. I like Show. I'll say Big Show. I'll say Sid too. You guys like oatmeal for real? I can't eat it, man. I've tried. I've given it an attempt. I just can't eat it. There's something about it. I can't do it. It's the consistency or something. JP says Don Callis' family is turning into the NWO or Bullet Club with all of them. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, man. David says Scotch filet. Is that a filet mignon over there, Dave? Is it a beef tenderloin? Filet mignon, is that what it is? Scotch filet. Don't know if I've ever heard it said like that. Fernando says better feud, Dusty versus Tully or Tully versus Magnum. Ooh. We did this last week, yeah? Well, let me put you this way. If you're a fan of a certain age and you hear the words I quit, you think of Tully and Magnum every time. That says something. All these years later, you still think of Tully versus Magnum. I quit. What a match. Oh my God, it was amazing. Great match. Cage match for the United States Championship. Great match. My God. I'm glad Magnum's still with us. I won't stay on this forever. You guys know I love Magnum. But I will always wonder what if, Magnum TA, multiple-time world heavyweight champion, and had WWE gotten their hands on him. I'll be honest with you. Had Magnum's car accident never happened, and let's say he had left Crockett a couple of years after that point, Hogan wouldn't have had a job. Sorry. Magnum could work. Magnum wasn't phony. And I get it. Can't rewrite history. Can't take anything away from what Hogan. I get it. All right, I'm not trying to have a Wayback Machine and make everything different. But Magnum could just do so much more. And freaking great. I talk about the guy like he's dead. He's not dead, everybody. But yeah. By the way, weird thing to suddenly throw out of the blue. I was in the gym this morning and I had Ace Frehley playing. Rest in peace to the great spaceman, the space ace, Ace Frehley. Dude, I grew up watching Kiss, listening to the music. My mom was a big fan. And I never gravitated toward Gene. Gene scared me as a kid. Peter wasn't my guy. Paul wasn't my guy. Ace was my guy. There's something about Ace. I was always drawn to guitarists more than anything else. And Ace was great. Ace has always been great. I listened to Frehley's Comet album this morning, and I hadn't heard that since I was a teenager. And I checked out Ace's 89 solo album. It's really good. Yeah, I feel bad for the fans and for his family. It's a freak thing, supposedly, that happened to him. But, yeah, man, big time Ace Frehley guy over here, dude. Big time. Love me some Ace Frehley. Fernando says, The Godfather or Goodfellas. Can I be honest with you? This is a boring answer. No ain't nobody gonna like it. I am not a mob movie guy. I watch Goodfellas. I'm okay with Godfather. I don't know. I guess movies hit different people different ways. I just never went out. You know what my problem was? You're looking at a guy that would sit down and watch a 4-hour comic movie and not sit there and dissect it because he was just having so much fun. But I'll dissect a mob movie in a heartbeat. Like, why exactly am I rooting for this guy and he's a stone cold killer? Why am I feeling like I watched every episode of The Sopranos? To this day, I don't understand how or why. Because the bad guys won all the time in that show. And I'm going to say it was glorified, but I don't mean that like holier than thou. I don't mean it to the level that you guys might think that I mean, because I don't mean it that way. I'm not saying that was the goal. That was the goal, is to glorify violence. I don't mean it that way. It did feel to me like, well, Tony's such a complex character. We have to. No, we don't. I don't want to. Like what happened in the end? He got shot up. He should have, because he's a villain. He's a bad guy, right? Like, if you're going to make a fictional character like that, that guy needs to get his comeuppance. He had to get his comeuppance. We all assume we know how that show ended. I think that's what they wanted you to think, because showing you that ending, would it have been any better? I don't know if it would have. How to get off on that? Am I going to watch the Bruce Springsteen biopic? That's the plan. I'm a big Jeremy Allen White guy. By the way, kids, Bear Mode, a podcast review of The Bear. We're, reviewing the Bear. We just put out the season 1 rundown this past Wednesday. There was only 8 episodes in season 1. We've already barreled through them. Season 2 is coming out in a few weeks. Everybody, please stay tuned. If you will subscribe to Boink Studios and YouTube, you'll find out when everybody else does. Is it true that James Gunn might lose his job if Warner Brothers is... Boy, I hope not. Terrible thing to happen. What are thoughts on Jim Carrey getting cast for live action Jetsons? You got me choked up. I mean, Jim's a little bit older, but Jim has that cartoonish face that he can do wonderful things with. And he looks great. We'll see. We'll see. Robbie says 3 good singers died recently. Moody Blues lead singer. I did not hear that. I did hear about D'Angelo. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? The 3 thing, Rob. I know it's real easy for people to jump on that. I just don't subscribe to that anymore, because was a couple weeks ago, we had like 5 people died within a week. Yeah. I think it's just coincidence. I think had no one ever said 3, I don't know if we'd even notice. Maybe that's just me daring to be different. I don't know. JP says, I agree. Never got into mom movies. Yeah, you know what? And here's something else I'll tell you. I'm in North Carolina. I didn't grow up around the mob. Depending on what part of the country you grew up in, you may have grown up down the street from where mobsters hung out. I never saw that. That wasn't here. Never. I mean, the only thing we've got to worry about here is racists and crazy rednecks. Always. Still are. I mean, every day that I leave my house, I drive past a Klan house. It's right up the road. And they're Klan, it's for sure. Every day. And we're not talking about a house off in the weeds somewhere. We're talking smack dab on, physically on the edge of the highway. When they back out of their driveway, they're in the street, in the road, in the highway. Boom. And at the edge of the road, in their yard, is a regulation size freaking flagpole with the Confederate flag hanging off of it. Thing's massive. You know why they did it? Middle finger to everybody, because they could. And they've got like 6 different versions of Confederate flag, if you know what I mean, hanging off the front of their house. It's a Klan house. And I know because a friend of mine went there because the guy was selling something on eBay or something, or Facebook Marketplace. And a friend of mine went, got the address, and when he rolled up, he's like, oh my God, where am I? And the guy's in there flat out inviting him to a Klan meeting. True story. That's where I'm at, North Carolina. We will never get better. We can hope. And a lot of us are doing okay. But we as a whole, we're doomed. We're doomed. Where's Galactus? Just come on. Let's go. Tell Galactus, come on. I'm just saying. So yeah, sorry. I didn't grow up around the mob. That was not my life. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't have an attachment. This is a weird thing to point out. I've said this before. I didn't grow up listening to Billy Joel. Had I grown up north, Billy Joel might be my guy. But you know what's funny? Leonard Skinner's not my band, because I just don't. The sound, I just can't. I don't know. It's just not for me, right? Like my taste, my musical taste and sensibility have changed so much over the years. It's insane. It's insane. JP says, I agree. Oh, sorry, JP. I threw it up there. Maria says, better Western movies, John Wayne or Clint Eastwood? That's a tough one because they're both legends. They're both legends. I'll say Jimmy Stewart. I've seen both these guys. I maybe prefer John Wayne over Clint Eastwood because Clint Eastwood movies the Westerns got really like psychological and stuff. And John Wayne movies were just fun cowboy movies. Do you know what I mean? But Jimmy Stewart made great Westerns. Great Westerns. Jimmy Stewart's my favorite actor of all time. What is a government shutdown? Well, we don't have to get political, but it's a mess, as my mom would say. It's a mess. And within a week, maybe less, of the government shutting down, there was government websites with a banner up top. I got a screenshot somewhere that said that because of Democrats, the government shut down. Classy. Very classy. I mean, but that's what we expect. I won't get into it. This is a pro wrestling show. But not all my shows are pro wrestling, everybody. So if you want to hear some unfiltered takes about the nonsense going on, you can get them. But again, we're not doing that here. Basically, everything comes to a standstill. And everyone's still getting paid, but no one's doing anything. You could argue no one does anything anyway. So what's different? Probably nothing. I wouldn't want to be trying to fly right now. I bet it's, I don't think it's affected airlines yet, but it may. The longer this thing goes on, for sure. Well, kids, I think we're going to go start our weekend. I appreciate you guys very much, as always. I'm going to remind you once again to please give us a follow on the YouTube at Boink Studios, Boink, Boink Studios. The link's in the chat. If you're listening to the audio version of this show after the fact, first of all, thank you so much for taking a listen. And I appreciate you very much. And also, please go subscribe to us on the YouTube. Again, no paywall. You don't have to worry about any of that. Brand new podcast, 6 days a week. 6 days a week, we have brand new episodes coming out. How you like that? You've got to like that. Isn't it awesome? I'm so happy. Like, it's so much work. I can't even tell you how much work this is. But I'm enjoying it so much. And doors are open for sponsorship. If you own a company or you're a new business and you want to get your name out there, we can help get your name out there. Just reach out, talk to me, and we'll go from there. Again, please go subscribe to our shows. We would appreciate it very much. And yeah, man, do me a favor, everybody. Enjoy WrestleDream tomorrow. Everybody have a great weekend, as always. And again, we appreciate you watching, giving us your time. Means a lot. As Jay would say, you guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with me, and I appreciate that. So, kids, in 4 weeks, episode 400 of Tom Clark's Main Event. Thank you so much for everyone for coming on the ride. Please stay tuned. We'll have some extra special guests for that show lined up, as we always do for the big ones. And thanks, everybody, again, for hanging out. We appreciate you very much. Have a great one. We'll see you. We should be back a week from today, unless something happens. If it does, you'll be the first one to know. Thanks, kids. And we'll see you next time.